For more updates, click on subscribe and click on bell button for latest notifications. Hi friends, welcome to Tech ARK IT YouTube channel. My name is Ravi. In this video session, we are going to see that what is VPC, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, which is called as an Amazon VPC, enables you to launch AWS resources into a virtual network that you have defined. So basically you can define the VPC, then inside that you can spin up the resources so that those resources will be isolated within that VPC. So that is the basic idea of the VPC. So this virtual network closely resembles a traditional network that would operate in your own data center, with the benefits of using the scalable infrastructure of AWS. So that is the just like in a traditional network, but that would example in your own data center, right? If you have an on-premises data center, how the traditional network works, this is also works in a similar way, but this has a more scalability in terms of in AWS cloud. So that's way you can scale your VPC at what level you want, and connects the computer together. That is the main purpose of VPC here. Sharing the data and applications, secure the data transfer, virtual routers, firewalls, and network management services. So this is all about the VPC, how that VPC provides and what VPC provides. So example, if I wanted to explain you in a architectural way, right? So if you see that the outline of this one is an AWS cloud here, so the green line you can see that which is an a VPC, right? So which VPC will have VPC, then within that you have a different availability zone, in that you have a different subnet, and so in subnet, public subnet, you have EC2 instance, which might be a web server is hosted, and you have a NAT gateway and connecting to the availability zone B with a private subnet. So this is a private subnet here, and this is a public subnet here, and we'll have connectivity between these two. Okay, so using the NAT gateway, and you have an elastic IP address, which means a public IP address for this particular web server, and that is published using this internet gateway and internet cloud, so that user can come here using the internet and access using this elastic IP address, or the IP address can be mapped to the any domain name, so the web server can be accessed. So this way, so here is the VPC role, which actually plays the isolating your infrastructure, isolating your resources inside the VPC. So AWS Virtual Private Cloud, which is a VPC that closely resembles a traditional network that would have operate in your own data center. After you create a VPC, you can add subnets. So you can add the subnets, multiple subnets within the virtual VPC, right? Private virtual network, so IP address range, subnets, security groups, and route tables. So this is, you can use this and launch resources like EC2 instances inside the VPC. So you can launch the resources inside that, so that will be protected using the VPC. Isolate and protect resources, that is the main agenda of that VPC, and a VPC spans across availability zones in a region. So that's the VPC spans across the multiple availability zones. So let's see what you can do if you have a multiple availability zones, or maybe if you want to connect a multiple regions together. You have VPCs, right? You have multiple VPCs, then you have multiple VPC networks, right? Then how you can combine them, how you can enable the connectivity between them using the VPC peering connection. So VPC peering connection is a networking connection between two VPCs that enables you to route traffic between them privately instances in either VPC can communicate with each other as they are within the same network. So whenever you have a VPC peering is enabled, though, so they thinks that they are in the same network, so you can communicate them each other using this VPC peering connection. So you can create a VPC peering connection between your own VPCs with a VPC in another AWS account, or with VPC in a different AWS region. So that's the way that you can connect with the example you have a different AWS account, not this AWS account. Maybe you have a different AWS account, or maybe you have a different client's AWS account you wanted to connect with, or to the particular subnet or the particular CIDR values. Then so here you have to remember is that both the CIDR values should not be same, so that you cannot do the pairing between the VPCs. So it should be different whenever you are doing the VPC pairing. So that's keep in mind, and you can do that. So private virtual network, so which can be IP address range, subnets, security groups, and route tables can be within that VPC, right? CIDR block should be different in both VPCs, so it should be different, otherwise you cannot do a VPC peering connection. Private access to SaaS applications, so example the SaaS applications which are hosted software as in a service, then you can access them privately using this VPC peering connection. Example, those services are AWS services hosted, then you wanted to access, so you don't need to access through the internet. Maybe if you already have that AWS resources on the AWS account, then you can enable the VPC connection between that, then you can access that applications. Okay, shared services, you can do that. And hybrid services, example the services on premises and cloud, you can also do that. Inter-region endpoint services, example, so there is a multiple regions you wanted to connect, our inter-regions within the region. Maybe you wanted to connect the endpoint services, you can also use this VPC peering connection. Inter-region access to endpoint services, so this is where you can use the VPC peering to and let's see some how you can create the VPC in real time. So here I go to Google and say that AWS console login, right? And you can click on that AWS management console here, right? And click on this log back in, and it will ask you for the credentials. So now I have logged into my AWS account. You can go to search here and search for VPC and click on this VPC here, right? And now you can click on, you can see that there is one VPC is available here on this particular region, but I would like to create one more VPC, so you just click on that VPC and you can say VPC only or VPC and more. So if you, along with that, if you want to create associated subnets, route tables and all, right, you can say VPC and more. So you can see that auto generate the project name, and you can see that the CIDR value is automatically given. So if you want to have a particular CIDR value, you can say that give that value here, right? And say it's a default tenancy, and number of availability zones, you can select 2 or 3 or whatever it is, and number of public subnets, so how many you would like to create, 2 here, number of private subnet, 2 here, right? And there is a one NAT gateway, so I say none because that cost gives the cost. And you can say VPC endpoint, so there is a S3 gateway, so to connect between your private subnet to the public subnet or private subnet to private subnet, the S3 gateway will be helpful. So here you have to provide, or maybe you can remove this one, or say auto generated, so it will automatically generate your VPC, right? I say that techarkit first VPC here, right? So that is my first VPC, so it's already automatically adds that name, so I don't need to give VPC here. So let's say create. So you can see that now. So it's automatically creating all of the things required for you. You can see create VPC, enable DNS resolution, and creating the S3 endpoint, and creating the subnet and internet gateway, right? Attaching the internet gateway to the VPC, and creating the routing tables, associating the routing tables, and verifying all these routing tables are working fine. And you can see that associating the S3 endpoint with the private subnet route table. So you can see that all things are automatically taken care and your VPC is ready. You can see that techarkit-VPC is available. You can see that is completed, right? And which has all the details in it. So how it is connected and where it is connected, okay, how the network connections are done. So this is how you can create the VPC in real time. That's about this video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Please subscribe to the channel for more upcoming videos and courses, and share with your families and friends so that they also learn along with you.